The views expressed on this episode, as with all episodes of We Hate Your Baby Daddy, are based solely on our personal opinions and shit we heard in the streets.
The content here should not be taken as indisputable fact. This show is for entertainment purposes only, so enjoy and don't come for us.
Welcome back to another episode of We Hate Your Baby Daddy, podcast where we just trash your baby daddy, any baby daddy out there. We just trash them, just drag them through the mud. And today we're going to talk about Hugh Hefner, a real piece of trash who is now deceased. But before we do that, we wanted to do an update because we see that one of our baby daddies that we discussed previously has been in the news recently. Blueface, also known as John. So funny that his name is John. Yeah, he recently kidnapped his own kid.
I mean, did anybody really clarify what was the custody arrangement between them? Could he technically have kidnapped that baby? It was clearly a kidnapping because that's not who he was supposed to be with at the moment. But you know how laws work and everything. That could have actually been an Amber Alert if he was stupid. You know what I mean?
Girl, so I'm like, did he even sign the kid's birth certificate? Because I mean, I know that they got the DNA test done, but I'm like, does he have any legal rights, basically, to just show up at 4 a.m. at the kid's aunt, is babysitting him, and then taking the kid, and then apparently he beat up the aunt.
Okay, so I did Google it that Krishan did confirm Blueface's paternity with a DNA test. And honestly, in most states, that's just enough for him to just act as a father, whether she wants him to or not, unless she litigates it. So
that really pissed
and we
me
know
off
she's
seeing
not the
him.
brightest, so she's probably not going to do that. And she wants any contact with him because she loves any type of contact with him, whether negative nor positive. She just loves being in Blueface's face.
Disgusting. And it was I just don't understand how any of these people have legal custody of this child at this point.
She always dresses that baby badly though. That baby was running around in a teddy bear onesie for the first 2 months of its life in any weather.
A mess. Well, anyway, that's our update about our one baby daddy who keeps baby daddying.
Do you want to update about Kiki's?
No, yeah, I haven't heard anything. Oh, well, actually, no. Yeah, go on.
Okay, so apparently that Kiki is in negotiations with him now, even after domestic violence. She proved it in a court of law, which is why she got her protection from him. What was it? A protection from abuse or a restraining order?
Yeah, I think it was an emergency protection order, right? Something like that.
Yeah. It was weird. And now she's saying that she wants to have some type of mediation with him, which is absolutely insane. If you ever went to court, you do not have mediation with someone that you just accused of abusing you unless you really, really, really want to just have contact with that person.
I think something's weird about that too, frankly. But I can't sit here and if she said she was abused, she was abused. I can't sit here and I wasn't there.
No, she was abused. That's we saw the video, we saw the pictures, we saw what he was saying, but
right.
What we're saying is the actions after the abuse, you gotta it's not just you that you're thinking of now.
Exactly.
He threatened your child's life basically with what he was saying. That's cute. Come on, be serious.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. So, I mean, best of luck to her. I hope she figures that situation out. I mean, I know how hard it is. You know how hard it is, co-parenting. I had a friend who was in an abusive situation with her baby daddy, and for a long time, she's just I can't have him go to jail. It's harder for me having him in jail. But ultimately, he wasn't even really paying child support anyway. She couldn't rely on him for anything. So one time, I mean, he just went way too far and basically almost killed her. And so I think he's still in jail to this day over that.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's just once you establish who this person is and they tell you who exactly they are and how they are to you and your child, you have to you have to be the grown up. You can't be the little girl in love anymore. You have to make hard decisions of I can't have this person in me or my child's life.
Absolutely. So sad situation. And then Clover Kardashian, I don't I don't know. We have an update about her baby daddy. I have an update about Thomas Jefferson. He's still fucking dead. 6 feet under, nigga. Bones in the ground. Thank God. We can rest safe tonight.
Can we though?
I feel like the ghost of him probably haunts the state of Virginia. Like,
Oh, the ghost of him literally just like possesses white men to be like, you know what? Go baby mama that random black woman and make her life hell. And I feel like a lot of us can relate to that.
yeah. You know that video I sent you when we were driving down the street and I saw that mixed skeleton? I was like, oh, there goes Steve's baby daddy.
You don't know how many times people just send me either like random skeletons or like literal Party City decorations like, damn, this is what you F with. And I'm like, well, it wasn't always like that, but I'm not going to sit here and defend my actions because here we
I
are.
was so dead. I was like, why does somebody still have their Halloween decorations up? It's December, but
Why was it stanced up like that? You know, he
it
kind of
was.
stances like that when he gets upset. I should send you a picture.
I'm gonna take another picture of that skeleton and we're gonna do a side by side.
I mean, like, Bree's seen pictures of him and like him compared to me and like our child. It's just like this man is just like unnecessarily tall and thin. It's like Slender Man. It's really scary.
That's the thing. But I saw the before pictures and I was like, okay, he was cute. He just
He really
literally
was.
rotted away. The rot took him.
Yeah, like I actually caught up with an old friend. And she was like asking me about him. She was like, "Oh my God, like yeah, what does he look like? Like what's he up to now?" And I just sent her a picture of him. And she was like, "Oh,
Oh.
what happened?" I'm like, "Nothing." We
Oh.
broke up.
That's the thing. It's like with my baby daddy, like he at least he was handsome. He's still a pretty handsome guy. He's just fucking crazy. That's the problem. Like you
Yeah,
never
like
know what you're
you
gonna
know what?
get.
He is pretty. He's pretty. He's a handsome guy. Like if you just like don't look him directly in the eyes,
Once you
because
look
the
him
eyes
directly in
don't
the
lie.
eyes,
Like his eyes are just like feverish.
that's how they get you. He locks on your soul. Like you know how you guys just call him like the golden retriever. Like, now it's like sad puppy dog eyes all the time. Like take me back.
I just don't like. I mean, like his eyes are like also like a very disturbingly dark brown. So like they get like really big, and I'm just like, oh my God, why is he making
No,
that face?
they're like hazel,
Are
actually. They
they?
probably
What the fuck is going
yeah,
on
they
with his
probably look
pupils?
they probably look dark brown in pictures because he's always crying. Just kidding.
Oh, he's
That's
always
mean.
crying. That
That's
makes me.
mean. I should edit that out.
He's gonna. You're gonna make him cry literally from this.
No, it's every day. Like we were fighting yesterday over the Red Scare and and he's yelling at me like I'm gonna beat his ass. He's so country. You're my baby mama. I don't want that girl around my daughter, and I'm gonna kick his ass. And I'm like, why? It hasn't done anything to you.
That sounds like a
Relax.
really threatening Elvis impression.
Hey, baby mama.
I'm
Elvis was
gonna kick his
country as
ass.
fuck. Elvis was also country as fuck. So.
He was, and that's kind of what I imagine. Like I've like heard him talk, and I'm just like, wow, that guy kind of sounds like Elvis, like the mush mouthiness and just you better not. I'm like,
I'm
what?
dead. Okay. So, oh, and also before we get into the episode, I just want you people to know we have merch. If you click on like I guess our bio link on Instagram, it's also on TikTok, and I think it's also on our Twitter. If you click on that link, one of the links on the link tree, it is to our merch. So you can take a look at it. It's a beautiful tote bag with our logo on both sides. It's designed by the Red Scare, or the boyfriend of the show. And if you purchase one, we get a little tiny cut that will help us to fund this show. So check it out, buy a bag. And now let's get into the episode.
Let's go.
Okay, today we're going to talk about Hugh Hefner. I think his name Hugh Marston Hefner, right? Like, I'm gonna look up what it.
Marston?
Yeah, his name was Marston. Hugh
That's
Marston
such a
Hefner.
white guy middle name. Like it
Yeah,
should be
like
a last name, but they just made it a middle one.
I wonder if he was named after like
Stupid boat hat.
somebody else who's probably a rapist. Look at all his former partners. Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking whore. That's the
I
thing
just
about
literally,
guys.
you were like scrolling down this thing. I just saw Nazi Party, Razzies,
What?
and the Crooked Man.
Nazi party.
Yeah, like go scroll that up.
Oh.
Yeah, there much to Rockwell's shock because Haley was black. What the fuck? What's going on?
My Lord. Oh
Oh,
my
okay, cool. So
God.
no, Hafner sent a black person to interview the founder of the American Nazi Party, and
And
the
he kept a
founder was
gun
shocked.
on the table.
Huh?
And he kept a gun on the table for the whole interview. He's gonna shoot this black guy? I'm so confused.
Look how the founder was shocked though. He was like shocked he was black. It's like, why did you
Yeah.
send me this black guy? Was this on purpose?
Yeah, I guess because it was like shocking.
Somebody was shocked. That's for sure. Wait, highlight that dude again. I want to see his face. Does he look like a Nazi?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's the Naziest Nazi that's ever Nazi.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's an American Nazi, all right.
Bro. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me redo. Let
We
me
are
redo
on
it.
his page though. This is all relevant.
It is. Okay. So today we're gonna talk about Hugh Marston Hefner, who, thank God, is deep in the ground. Like Thomas Jefferson, he can no longer haunt us in life, only in death.
Is he wait, did he get buried? Did he get buried on top of Marilyn Monroe like he
He
wanted to?
absolutely did. At his grand old age of 91, he's decrepit old bones. I think they actually just put him next to her. I don't know that for
Okay,
sure that
yeah.
he's actually on top of her, but like still disgusting.
Yeah, because like what did my girl do to deserve that? Like not him on top of
She
her.
lived such a hard, like tragic life, and for him to do that is just foul.
I love how like he never saw the humanity out of her. He was like blonde, big boobs, and she's just like, I'm having the worst time of my life, man.
And he put her in Playboy without her permission. She was, I think, the first cover model, and he just took some photos he found or something, didn't compensate her for that. And she stated that it made her very uncomfortable. And then in death at 91, he laid his decrepit old bones next to hers. Like, what in the fuck?
Poor fucking Marilyn, man.
So Hugh Hefner, unfortunately, so Hugh Hefner, as we know, he was the founder of Playboy, and he was known as an early champion of civil rights and women's rights, which is so wrong. He did so little for women's rights. I mean, he was a fucking monster, which we'll get into it. Um, and he was a hoe. He had four kids by two baby mamas. He had one daughter and three sons. And those are just like his baby mamas. But if you go to his Wikipedia page, like we just did, and look at the amount of like partners he's had, he got around. He was a slut. And I'm saying this and being so mean because it's like these are the things that society will say about women. If you go to a woman's profile and see that many partners on there, they'll be like, wow, what a hoe. She got around. Oh, she like basically had a pornographic based business. Like, what a dirty slut. And that should be Hugh Hefner's legacy.
If he had a healthy amount of shame and people shaming him, I think a lot of his toxicity could have been curbed. And that I feel like that's a lot with like a lot of men. Like if a lot of people just pointed and laughed and would have been like your pee pee out, they wouldn't have made it. They wouldn't have made it.
There's like documentaries out there about the shocking, terrible things that he's done. Like there's the Playboy murders and Secrets of Playboy. which I think Holly Madison is like she hosts one of those, and they're really good. I mean, they go into all these details about like things he just ignored, like women who he just used them up, took their pictures, barely compensated them, and then once he was done with them, just cast them out. And some of them were addicted to drugs because he was always giving them drugs. And and also his associates would use them up. So there was the Playboy Mansion, then there were other smaller mansions nearby with like his associates that would like basically bring girls that weren't qualified, quote unquote, to be Playboy bunnies and be like, oh, it's fine. Like you can model for me. And then they would just like pimp them out basically. Like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. We don't need to go into like all the details, but like he was nasty.
Unsurprised.
I heard in one of those documentaries that he literally like engaged in bestiality.
I've heard of that too. And honestly, I wouldn't think that's far off because usually when you hear stories about these men that are just like constantly surrounded by women and sex, like they get bored and they want more challenging aspects that are taboo that'll get them off more than just regular sex, which is really fucking disgusting. I mean, me personally, not a fan of the pornography industry and how it like chews people up and spits them out. Like
Right.
fundamentally, it's very fucked up. Like just
And we
how
had talked about this before. Like we're both very much on the same page about being like anti-pornography because like something like Playboy is like a gateway drug for a lot of people. You know, they read these magazines with their kids and then they want more and more hardcore stuff to get off. You know, they start watching anything. Like, I mean, some of the sick things that are out there, if you want to find it, you find it. And that's what people do. And we'll get into it in this episode. Like his own kids experience that, like being exposed to, you know, all of the sexuality and sex themed parties and all these things from very early on in their lives. It kind of like led to them struggling to form like, you know, interpersonal relationships.
yeah, I don't know. Like you after if you like speak to you just speak to guys like I feel like around that like 90s age like during like the advent of internet porn and we do have him to blame because he really did like bring porn into like the household as a normal thing. So you just speak to them and like their problems with intimacy and expecting like women to just be normal people like not objects that you like it's a lot of damage there. It's a lot of damage there and a lot of guys that are just like really into like pornography or like images of women I'm just very wary about because like it just seems like it warps their brain and he's like pretty much like the poster child for this just like oh these are objects that I can just like pose around like
Right.
little dolls. I really hate it.
And I'm sad that this is such a controversial take. Like, I know if some people listen to this episode, us saying we're anti-porn, like that will probably lead to some backlash from people who are just so heavily addicted to it. Like for me personally in my life, I cannot have people who watch porn around me, around my child. Like, you know, my boyfriend does not watch porn, my baby daddy does not watch porn. And people will always say, like, oh, you don't know, you don't know. Like, no, I actually do know. Like, because I have
Oh
made myself,
we know
yeah,
if
we
you
know.
watch it.
Yeah, because your dick doesn't work if you do. But even so, like, I check, I make sure, like, in the beginning. Um, and yeah, no, I can't. You can just tell by the way that they even look at women, like, not people, you know?
Not even the way that they look at women, but like the way that they hold normal discussions is just so strange. Like if you talk to like a
Right.
guy that's just like addicted to porn or just constantly has porn on the brain, like they're the way that they talk about things is just so weird and like out of
Everything
left
becomes
field.
sexual.
Yeah, like it's nasty. Like you'll just be talking about like, oh yeah, like I just had bananas, and they'll just be like, oh, big black bananas, right? BBC. It's like,
Without
what the
me,
fuck are you talking about? We
yeah,
are
they're
at
disgusting.
lunch.
Read the room.
Yeah, like the vibes are off now. Like everybody's looking around. Like you thought we were gonna laugh. Like why is it the first thing on your brain, dude? Like
Yeah, Coomers. That's all they think
somebody needs to
about.
check your hard drive. That's fucking weird.
But we have digressed a lot. Let me go ahead and jump into like kind of like we'll get into the timeline of his baby mamas. So starting with his first marriage. So Hugh Hefner, he was married to a woman named Millie Williams. And they had two kids. They had Christine Hefner, who is now 71 years old, and David Hefner, who is 68 years old. And the interesting thing about his first baby mama, Millie, so she's actually still alive. She outlived him. She's like 97 years old. She was married to Hugh for 10 years. They got married like in their early 20s, back when Hugh was like a normal person before he founded this disgusting smut empire. And the story is that apparently they split because there was like infidelity. And even though he cheated on her, he also claimed like she cheated first while he was away in the army. And then when he came back, she was like, well, we can have an open marriage. Like on your side, you can see whoever you want. And he was like, well, I was a virgin when I married Millie. And like, I'm just too devastated by her infidelity to continue the relationship. And so that he claims that's why he broke it off. I don't really believe any of that shit.
Child, anyway, City Girls up.
City Girls up 3 million points. So Millie was a bad bitch because after they got divorced, she did get remarried. And her new husband, his name was Edwin Gunn. He actually ended up adopting her and Hef's kids, Christy and I said Christine earlier, but it's Christy and David, and then they changed their last names to the new husband's last names, which I thought was so interesting because I'm like, what kind of deadbeat piece of shit do you have to be for someone else to be able to come in and adopt your kid?
If you're not
Like
even like putting up a fight, because like back then that was pretty
exactly.
goddamn hard.
Right. And so the relationship didn't work out and they ended up changing their names back. But I just thought that was really an interesting fact that he was that shitty of a baby daddy.
I'm
So,
not surprised. Like the basis of their marriage was him being upset about infidelity on both of their sides, and I'm just like, don't they got kids? Like y'all gotta. There's bigger fish to fry, and they're in the
such a little
can.
pussy. So then when they got divorced, by that time, I think Hugh Hefner had already founded Playboy. And I think at that point it was profitable. So I think she hopefully got a lot in the divorce settlement. I don't know. It's all unknown because she has like kept herself completely out of the spotlight, which is great. I mean, it's like when we talk about other baby mamas like Elon Musk's first baby mama or whoever, the ones that stay out of the spotlight, it just seems like, they probably have like happier, oh, like Donald Trump's first baby mama too. Like the ones that stay out of the spotlight seem to just be doing much better than the ones that are in it.
Yeah, I think that like kind of goes to show like if you're like a baby mama, like the best thing you can do is like not roll around in the mud with them. Just like literally to like detach, do what you got to do. Like you cannot cling on to this man. Like even if you're like, well, I'm trying to make him be a dad. I'm like, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're not trying to make him
Right.
be a dad. You really just, I don't know. I think a lot of people just really want like that connection again, and they think just because they have the kid, they can just like kind of open and close it when they want to, and that's really detrimental not only for yourself but for your child because he doesn't care and it doesn't affect him or his reputation. So
Absolutely. Like, just gotta let go and let go of it. So anywho, Christy and David, the first two kids, they mostly like remain out of the spotlight and like kept their personal lives very private. Like I saw that they have their own families. They've like run successful businesses of their own, but there's really not a lot of detail out there about their personal life. I did see that Christy was actually the president of Playboy Enterprises for a long time.
that's really fucked up. And like how desensitized like to these to this like bullshit to your kids have to be to feel like that's okay to do.
Right, because if you ever watch any of the Playboy shows, like the positive ones, even like for example, Girls Next Door, where they will just kind of talk about like how the process is from taking photos and editing them. And you see how they have that little microscope and they're just like poring over all these photographs, looking for any like detail, looking at these women's bodies, just like parts for sale, like looking at them like objects. And I think by the time she started working for the company, she was 30, but still, you want your daughter like involved in this. I know for a Fendi fact that Hugh Hefner would not want his own daughter to be posing for something like that. And I think he tried to claim that he was like, oh, I'd be fun with it. Like, no, he would not have been. He was a very hypocritical man. Which I'm telling you guys, you gotta like watch these documentaries or like listen to like Ollie Madison's like podcast or like her read her memoirs because she talks about like just what a god awful person he was and she's even very like polite about it like I feel like there's a lot of worse things that she could have said like he kept like revenge porn where these girls were already nude models but he would actually take like photographs of them in horrible compromising positions or like when he had drugged them with like quaaludes and shit. Yeah, so that he could like release those if they ever pissed him off. Like he was a disgusting person.
It's also super fucked up. Like, I know that we keep going back to Maryland, but like, didn't like Hugh Hefner say like that's who inspired him not only to like make Playboy, but to like have that was like his basis for like the Playboy model, like bleach blonde hair, big breasts, hourglass body. Like you base this off of this woman, and this is something that she dealt with her entire, like not only like her personal life, but her professional life, like having like photos and videos of her when she was just trying to make it out, like being used against her, and it could have like tanked her entire stardom. Like to do that same thing while saying that you admire Marilyn Monroe so much is just so ironic.
Right.
You
People say
you
Playboy is
could have you could have made so many little Marilyns lives so much better and in a much more progressive state because like that girl grew up in what like the 40s. Yeah,
hmm
but you just did that and like you perpetuated exactly the trauma that this woman went through. And that's insane to me. Like you literally set this up just so you could be the abuser in the story.
Right. And like people were saying like, oh, he's such a champion for like, civil rights and women's rights. And he would be like, oh, feminists or like, they don't like Playboy because of the romance it portrays. Like, how people are always like, oh, feminists, they just like have a bunch of cats. And I don't even remember all the stereotypes 'cause I don't listen to them. It's like
Yeah, they're stupid.
and so he is basically saying all these things and he's saying like, oh, I empower women. No, you don't. He has ruined so many innocent women's lives just by getting them hooked on drugs, taking these revenge porn photos and like distributing all this shit. Like, I mean, even like he had the Playboy Club and the waitresses who worked in the club, like some of them will tell you, like some of their coworkers just got murdered by like celebrities that, would go there, or, Bill Cosby used to go there. And of course, he would do his Bill Cosby thing to some of these girls that worked there. Like, and he just facilitated that. He facilitated so much just disgusting shit.
And it's so like it's not funny, but it's funny to me. But like him starting this, like that industry and the women that work in it still have to deal with these same exact problems today because it was normalized by this man. Like it's totally
Absolutely.
normal to just treat these women like this. Oh, they're just sluts, they're just flesh. Just do whatever you want to them. And like
Exactly.
we still have we still have to like tell like teenagers, like female teenagers that we know, like, hey, don't do OnlyFans. That's not empowering. You're being
Right.
manipulated. You're going to go in a spiral. If somebody says, "Hey, I got you in a casting," that's not something to take pride in.
It
Like
basically
this is
grooms you. You're basically groomed into exploiting yourself. That's like
yeah.
how
And it's like
OnlyFans
it's
and
not empowering. This isn't like a feminist thing. Like that's and I see that a lot with like third wave feminism as
lib
well. Like
fem. Yeah,
yeah, like, oh, we'll just do whatever and guys can use us whatever we want. And that's empowering because we have power. And it's like, you really don't. Because
you
if they were to
don't.
flip the script and like post what you did during that hookup night, he wouldn't get in trouble, but you sure would. Like all of your
Right, and
credentials
you
and everything's
couldn't
out the window.
certain jobs, opportunities, like the commentary that people make, like, society is cruel, but let's be like fucking for real and be realistic about like what you can expect, if you do OnlyFans,
I just
which
don't like
not
I mean like he started this shit. So like we
he
have like he
did.
really started this shit in like just Western media. Like this wasn't like so much of a thing before him.
Right. And I mean, like I said, it's like a controversial take to be like, hey, maybe women shouldn't be exploited. Women who are just looking for like financial security in a world where, it's very hard for a woman to be independent, but we have to be. I mean, it's like in the same breath, people like, oh, don't be gold diggers, like, don't have a man support you, but then also make it so hard for us to just like get ahead in life that sometimes these are the only options for some people is to pose nude. And they try to make it seem like every single Playboy bunny like wanted to be doing that. And yeah, some did. Like Pam Anderson, if you listen to her memoir or watch her documentary or whatever, she says, I really wanted to do Playboy and I had a good experience and everything was fine. She's like the one person out of like the hundreds of women who were like chewed up and spit out by Hugh Hefner and the Playboy like machine.
And I will say, like, I do like Pam, and I do like what she does, and like how articulate she is with the way that she talks about, like her struggles and like, her own revenge porn thing. But at the same time, Pam, I feel like was already kind of protected when she went into Playboy. I don't know. Like she was already
She
kind
was
of like
like
being groomed to be a big star. So like there was very little that people could hold over her head.
she like came over from Canada and like she was very early on in her career and she basically had the perfect like launching, probably that every other girl who went into Playboy wanted was that, she was acting in a few small things. She poses for Playboy, and then around the same time, she gets Baywatch. And then her career just really took off. But other girls were not as lucky.
No, I remember there was one girl that posed for Playboy and like her life story was just like freaking awful. Like she was a poster girl for 1 year. I have to look her up, but I remember that like a lot of Playboy bunnies that were like close to her and stuff were like, yeah, like she pretty much like exemplified exactly what we were going through and like her it wasn't even her downward spiral. It was just like the men that she was exposed to by him just led to her downfall, which is so sad because she was so young. I think she passed away at like what, like she was barely 19. Like she was freshly legal, posed for Playboy, turned 19, and then that's it. Like that was the end of her life because of what she was exposed to and who she was exposed to.
It's just hard. Like, there's so much more I want to say, but it's like, you know what? Let's just jump back into the episode because I could talk about this forever, like the cruelty of this industry and how people will defend porn to the death, but then those same people are the ones who are like, "Oh, you're a whore for doing porn," but then they go home and jerk off. So anyway, I digress. Back into Christie being president of Playboy Industries. So I just thought that was so fucking weird. And I don't think she ever ended up posing for the magazine, which not that she had to or anything, but it was just interesting because, Hugh himself, like the girls that he would date and his second wife, who we'll get into in a second, posed for the magazine. So his second wife, she was a model. Her name was Kimberly Conrad. And so they got married like in the late 80s. So at that point, Hugh Hefner was already like in his 60s. And in total, they were married for 21 years, although they were separated after I think like 9 or 10 years. Because like, Hugh Hefner's unbearable. And they had two kids together. You can't raise two kids in the Playboy Mansion. And so she ended up moving them to like a smaller home, but the kids still had rooms there and they would go there. But as we'll get into in a second, he actually one day was just like, well, I need more room for bitches, and like converted their rooms without even telling them. So when they like came over one day and were like, oh, I'm gonna like go in my old room. It's like a bitch is living in there. Like
No, this is my bitch room. I'm sorry.
bitches only, bad bitches only, no kids.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
what's
God,
like on the poster. And it's just like, sorry, baby, you just don't make the cut.
I'm dead. And so, there's a 30-year, like 30 plus year age gap between his youngest two kids and his oldest two kids because for some reason society has convinced us that like sperm doesn't degrade with age and that it's normal and acceptable for like a man in his mid 60s to be making new babies.
Oh, that stuff was curdled. Ew.
Ew. It was either dust or curdle with no middle ground. So the two kids that he had with Kimberly, there's two boys. Their names are Marston, he's 33, and Cooper, who is 32. And you can kind of see it with Marston, especially how like a shitty baby daddy can produce like a shitty offspring. Because back in like 2011, and I remember this in the news when this happened, Marston was like 21 years old and he like beat the crap out of the girl that he was dating. He was punching her, kicking her, and the neighbors called the cops and he was arrested for domestic violence. And she was able to get an emergency restraining order against him. And I'm just like, it's really no surprise that the shit apple doesn't fall far from the shit tree because, as we've mentioned, his dad was like drugging bitches up and like doing all manner of terrible things to them that we don't even really need to get into any further. But it's just like, I'm not surprised that he had a son who's beating people up, like women up. And I'm looking at your face. Hold on, you.
This dude's gross. I'm sorry. I went a, I went a bit ahead in the show notes and like she can see me and I'm like not having a good time.
What is it about the show notes that stick out to you? Tell us, please.
Fist fighting women and showing pussy on the internet for attention. That's what like really turned my face up. Because like I was already thinking of like Hugh Hefner's like curdled sperm making another fucked up kid. And then like my eyes went across that and I was like, oh my God, OnlyFans. And then it just kept going and
So,
sorry guys.
Marston,
This happened in the real Philly Deadbeats one. They were just like, oh my God, D, your face. I'm like, I'm
right?
sorry.
Because some things I'm so shocked that you have. Like, I do too. I can't hide it. I mean, my face when I was writing the show notes, I was like, excuse me. So let me tell you guys. So Marston Hefner, he recently like came out as bisexual. He started an OnlyFans. And then he got mad because he said, "Oh, my family members, not all of them support me." And I'm like, "Oh, that's hypocritical because you can make money off of sex work, but can't be a sex worker." And that's how he described it. He describes himself as a sex worker. And I'm like, it really kind of irritated me because he's 33 years old, the same age as me. And I'm like, he's the perfect example of the sassy man apocalypse that has taken over this generation. Like, you're rich. You don't need to be shaking pussy on OnlyFans. You don't, he's out
But
here
he
fist.
did.
He did. He still is. Because, like,
I'm Googling it and like I'm seeing the pictures and I'm like, Bree, just keep going. Like you can see my face. It's oh,
he's like one of the number
he's not
one.
even attractive. Like
No,
who did he think
girl.
he was?
He's not. And he says he loves OnlyFans because he's like, it's an ego boost. People tell me I'm cute and they're nice to me on there. This is a father with a wife. He's a married man with a child who is like newborn. The baby was born, I think, in like August of this year. Why are you shaking pussy on OnlyFans? You just got your inheritance. Like your dad died in 2017. I know you didn't blow through it all. He has also his own business. He writes books and stuff. It's like you're just doing this for attention. And he said his wife doesn't like it, but he's like, she knows my happiness is more important than her
Listen,
feelings.
if I was his wife, I would be sick, Bree. This is like off the record, but I sent you a picture that I Google, like trying to like see like pictures of this dude. Please look at your phone. And this was the first thing that popped about Marston Hefner. And
Bro, I'm gonna put my phone in the trash. It's over. I don't want this phone anymore.
no, we're
Not at the point
posting
that
that. We're posting that on we're posting that on like the visuals of the show. Cause like I'm like, okay, Marston
the
Hefner.
story.
Like, D, why are you making that face? And I'm Googling this, and this is the first thing that pops up. Bussy out to the
Oh my
world,
God, I
to
was
the
not
God. Like it's
expecting
out in
that.
the air.
Was I was not I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. Okay. Yeah, we'll post this on our Instagram and possibly Twitter.
Why the fuck does he
So
have that face on? He's not even like wearing a seductive face. He feels like he's like a professor that just showed me the answers to the question. Like, and yeah, if you just look down here, you'll see my taint.
why are you so
Mhm.
flexible, bro?
Oh, you know why he's flexible. His poor fucking wife, that dumb bitch. Why did she do that to
Sister,
herself?
I don't think she knew that he was gonna be doing this stuff when she married him.
No, no, I
This
don't
is
even blame her because,
recent.
like, if a dude did this to me, I think I would literally just be like, "All right, it's family annihilation time. We can't live down this shame. Like, y'all need to be more like the Japanese or something. Everybody needs.
Cover
We're
up.
wiping the slate clean."
I'm so dead. So yeah, he's out here fist fighting women, showing pussy on the internet for attention because he never really got attention from his dad. He said that like, his dad was just really focused on bitches. Like I said, he converted their rooms into rooms for hoes. And he didn't even give them time to like collect their stuff. Like he said there were still like toys in the room, like and these girls are like moving in their like stripper shoes and lingerie, and he just had to be like, okay. And he said in an interview, like he was exposed to so much like sexual content and stuff from such a young age that it messed up his view of sex and of women. Like, it's like go figure, that's what it does. That's what viewing pornography from an early age does. It it's just no surprise that he felt that way. And so the other three kids haven't really been as open as Marston. Literally as open
Thank
as
fucking God the other kids aren't as open as Marston. We can see how open Marston can get. And that's real fucking open. I don't even think I can bust it down like that.
no, no, I don't think I can either.
And I professionally busted down. I don't know how he. Oh my God.
It was so weak. So, he was all these kids were in some way being raised in and around like this home and environment that was completely funded by and dependent upon sex and modification of women's bodies. Like you're not going to grow up and have a normal like view of human sexuality being raised like
No,
that.
because like it's like so messed up that like what he did to like the youngest one, because like this is like the one closest to our like fucking peer group that we can really like see eye to eye and criticize. Like this dude was like, my dad only cared about bad bitches, so I'm gonna become the bad bitch he never had.
I'm gonna be the badder bitch daddy. Watch
Yeah,
me, daddy, watch
I'm
me
bad
twirl.
bitch daddy. And that's exactly what he did. Like we're not over exaggerating. We're not like making fun of this dude. Like I swear to God.
I'm making fun of him a little. Like, I mean, he punched the bitch out. Like, he really thought he was on Baddies East. You know that show, Baddies.
You know what? That makes me think. Like I feel like a lot of guys like him, they don't even like women. Like they just like we're just there
No,
and we're like societally expected to like, submit to you and stuff. And that's what he wants because he finally has somebody that's like lower than who he thinks of himself. And that's probably why he's only like even messing with women. And his poor wife, like,
I
dude.
read
But
another interview he did, and it was asking him about fatherhood. He's like, "Yeah, I've always wanted to be a father, but I could never find somebody who, would just get me." And I'm reading that, thinking to myself, like, so that's the reason why you got married and had a kid, just because, oh, I just wanted to be a father, but I just needed somebody
they
who
don't
would
even know
accept
what that
that.
means. They don't even
I
know what
needed
that means.
someone who was going to accept that I want to put my butthole on the internet for everyone to see. Like,
No, it wasn't even butthole. It was like the whole
girl, it was a whole
bang
shebang,
bang.
shebang. I think we saw more from that angle than like my gynecologist has seen of me, the one who delivered my baby. Like, I don't think she saw that much of what he was
He's
showing.
he looks like he would do this shit too. Like I don't trust this man. He's scary.
Yeah, I mean, shit apple, shit tree, right?
Oh my God, I see him posing in like a pants dress with a pug.
Okay, I gotta see that one.
Like I don't like I'm so sorry. Like if I die tonight and like the EMTs go through my phone, they're gonna be like, bitch, what the fuck?
Mitch, what is this? I have a denim skirt that's very similar to this. I'm throwing it in the trash. I can never
Uh
wear that again.
but
And
it's
as for
just
the
like you
pug,
but you know who was behind his camera? His wife just trying to like be progressive, like, yeah, baby, I'm here supporting you.
she was
Do,
like Chris Jenner, that gif with Kim, you're doing great, sweetie.
you're doing great,
Which was
sweetie.
ironically, she was posing for Playboy.
It all falls down to this man.
It
He
all
looks too
boils
much like his
down.
father.
He does look exactly like him. It's kind of scary, like those awkward, oversized features, those long, like face.
the way they stanced up. I don't think Hugh could bust it down like that, but
Girl, I don't know. Like I said, I heard he was into some freaky shit, so
you know what? There's nothing positive I can say about this dude.
there's not. If we
You
were to
saw me at
compare,
pause. I'm like, maybe no. Like I'm not even giving it. Like what you thought I was going to say something nice because
I
what?
wasn't. No.
Mm-mm. This dude sucks
We gotta
in
rate
more
him
ways than one.
on a scale of like, let's just make up a scale.
What for fucking Hugh Hefner?
Yeah, like what's his like terrorist threat level? It's like Black Watch Plaid. Like it's bad. No, but he's dead, so I'll
Oh,
give him a
ooh,
point
I
for
know a
being
threat
dead.
level.
Hmm.
One would be, I guess, maybe like a magazine you just find, and that's kind of like upsetting. That's an upsetting thing to find. And
Hmm.
five would be you're a black man interviewing the leader of the Nazi party with a gun on the table. That would be five.
Yeah,
I'd say I'm at like a four because I'm
maybe like
really
a 4.8.
gambling. Yeah, because I'm really gambling. Because like if I get pregnant, I'm like, oh my God, if I have a boy, it's gonna end up like Marston,
And
and I'm
he
gonna
got
be.
a point eight because he's dead, so he had the courtesy to kick the bucket. So otherwise
I can't even say that he's easily avoidable because like this man was probably like inevitable if you were like in Hollywood or trying to make it as like a
he
young star.
was. You had to go to the Playboy Mansion.
I
Like
don't
at the
want
time,
to Playboy.
was a place to be seen. Yeah, I already went there last weekend. Oh my god.
Like this isn't fun. Like how like I know they had that's why they had to drug the girls up so much. Like, oh, the girls are having so much fun because if they were stone cold sober, they'd be like,
Girl, looking around at all these fucking ghouls and skeletons, looking at them, like, and they had
I'd
to
be like,
fuck
is that
them.
Bill Cosby in the corner right
It's
there?
like shudder, the shuddering that would go through your body. And he was giving them quaaludes and he called them thigh openers. That's what he called them. Like, so you're just openly admitting to date raping these girls. I mean that's probably where Bill Cosby even got the idea. He was like, oh, so you could just drug bitches up?
You know what? I think he did. Didn't Bill Cosby have an interview where he said somebody showed him like the name of like the cocktail that he used that was called Spanish Fly, but he didn't name
Girl,
what famous person showed him that cocktail.
I didn't know that, but
I'm looking it
that's
up.
wow.
Yeah, I swear to God, Bill Cosby made like a reference, like, oh, somebody showed me like this is what we put in the girls' drinks. It's called Spanish Fly.
That's disgusting. Oh
Oh my
God,
God.
it's so hard to just exist as a woman in this society. It's so dangerous. You can't even just hang out with somebody who everybody looked at as like their kindly old uncle from TV without potentially getting fucking drugged and date raped.
Yeah, look, said if they saw five girls standing alone at a party, boy, if I had a whole jug of Spanish Fly, I'd light up that whole corner over there right now.
It's like you're not even human enough to just be like, let me go talk to people. Like they're people. You would instantly look at a bunch of girls and say, I have to drug and rape them. Like, what? What's wrong with these people?
Yeah, like he was definitely like enabled through this. Like this is
I
oh
can't
my
wait
God.
till Bill Cosby dies.
Okay, judge rules Quaaludes comments are admissible. Spanish fly jokes aren't. I mean, they're the same thing. That's just like slang. Like you know how they call like amphetamines like black beauties back in those days.
Right.
Spanish fly, I'm pretty sure is just like boomer slang for Quaaludes and date rape.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Um, so if we were going to be either Millie or Kimberly, honestly, I don't really know that much about Kimberly. I don't know that she's out here like, doing anything, but I mean, I want her to be Millie because she's 97, bad bitch. Like, she never really had her like personal life dragged through the mud. I think everybody was calling
Mm-mm.
Kimberly like a gold digger, as if it's so fun and easy to like have terrible sex with this decrepit old man.
I think I'm gonna go with her too, not only because like the nightmare is almost over for her, but also she got her lick back and like she just scarred that man for life. And I love a woman that scars a horrible man for life. Like, he was already
Period.
like a piece of shit, and then he meets a woman that's his match. Love that for her.
She did get her lick back, and she also outlived him, so it's the ultimate lick back, right?
I would literally what do boomers do? What dance do they do? I would Charleston on his grave.
Nigga, not the Charleston. I think that's older than the boomers.
I don't know. That the twist. I don't know what they did. I know that they destroyed the world that we live in with
They did the
everything.
twist
Plastic
over the
porn.
economy.
Yeah, plastic porn, the economy. What else could you have done? Like, oh my God.
Simply just do the twist over the housing market.
How the fuck can you get freaky to songs like that back in the day too? Because like, what were they
They
playing?
found
Like
a
Chubby
way.
Checker? Like that.
Ew, I
Oh
think
my
they
God, it's a
were.
nightmare. Anyway, guys.
That is our episode. Thank you so much for listening. As I always say, please take the time, click the 5 stars on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you're listening to this. Leave us a review. Like, what is it gonna hurt you to just be like, hey, two bad bitches, have a great show, listen to it, and we'll shout you out on social media because I love to post our reviews. They're always so nice.
Oh yeah, be
Do,
nice to us. Like we love it. We love it. We love it.
Yeah. Where can they follow us on social media?
So you can follow us on WHYY Baby Daddy Pod on all social media. That should be our name, but mostly the best way to get us is through Instagram.
Yes, we are both on there. We both post a whole bunch of random bullshit on there. It's a lot of fun. And I run our Twitter and I just kind of be posting whatever. And we don't have Facebook. That's the one thing that like some days I'm like, I should make one, and then I'm like, but then I would have to be on Facebook.
Yeah, and she doesn't want me on Facebook because I'd be fighting in the mud with the people on Facebook. They're nasty over
You
there.
said what, bitch? Let's put her on the show.
Microphone to you.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
See you next week. We love you. Bye
We love you.
bye.
Bye.